You've probably heard about the death cross boogie, but have you heard about the bull trap fake out theory? Bitcoin crypto morning tea. Hey. Good morning, everybody. My name's pianomattyb. That is Scaramucci's, and this is your morning TA. A brief glimpse into the crypto markets, where the sun's shining, where the wind's blowing. All the humble opinion of this piano Zamboni bringing the down. The FOMO index has jumped up to 46 from yesterday's 41. Bitcoin dominance is 48.5%. 24-hour volume is 26 billion. The overall market cap is 1.05 trillion. Give or take 100 million. Well, everybody's talking about the death cross. I said the death cross, baby, the death cross. We talked about the death cross 2 weeks ago and how it could take us to 8,800. Doesn't mean it will. It just means it could, so there's a chance it can. But when everybody was singing the Death Cross Boogie, price action had a glimmer of hope. But we talked about this, so it should have come as no surprise to anyone in this boutique community when Bitcoin price action, well, she had a little pump.
Hey, where's the beat?
My heartbreakingly optimistic outlook would be to see us retest the 50 moving average, a 26.3. Now there are some bullish technicals on this chart. First being some hidden bullish divergence on the MACD. As well, there is bullish divergence on the RSI. That's double word score for the bulls, which just might be the Papa, we need to see that 26.3-ish price target. And Lord love a duck, she didn't do just that. After a knee-jerk who in the what now, after the beige book came out, price action reverted to its mean, wrestled with the 20 moving average, then blew up and over her, peaking out at 26.4 and is feathered down to a time of production, 26.2. Continued bullish prowess could see us retest our symmetrical triangle's resistance level up at 26.8. However, I'd keep my papers on the triangle support level of 25.9 for an old-fashioned retest. Now over on the ding-dong. We managed to get up and over the 20 moving average and are currently white-knuckling it, trying to hold on. My bull trap fake-out theory would see price action pumping into the death cross, getting up and over it and putting in a higher high to our last peak at about 28.3, but a lower high in the overall trending arc, which would get retail traders hepped up on bullish goofballs before September's grim reapers come a-knocking. And we see the self-fulfilling prophecy of the death cross take us back down, completing this right shoulder of old Mr. Clean's head and shoulders pattern, which of course plays out to 19.2-ish. Shatner, quick look at the Wookiee. Sees we are currently holding on to our green candle close price above 26.1, continuing our display of respect to our triangle support level. Breaking this level could see us head towards our channel support down at 24.2-ish, which is also the 50 moving average. Our great hope of support before Well, before we have to have some more serious Barris conversations. And remember that breakout level on the ding dong of 28.3? Well, wouldn't you know, she's right at the crux in the breakout point of her symmetrical triangle. And wouldn't it just make market sense for the price to pump up there? Well, the majority of TA people are singing that Death Cross Boogie. And although it would be a comforting pump to see, everyone in this boutique community will look at it with a side-eye wince of suspicious caution after hearing the bull trap fake out theory. Would you look at that, my friend? The sun is up. It's another beautiful day here on planet Earth, a day none of us are guaranteed. We're not guaranteed those days, these days. So get out there and knock them dead. And remember, we're playing the same game as our psychopathic elected leads. And that's right, it's the long game. So zoom out and have a fantastic day. And we'll be going live right away, so grab yourself a cup of coffee. Join me for a quick one, and it's Friday. So sing me out, won't you? I'll run the banks of Boom to Spain. Whoa. Ching. Have a great weekend, everybody. Everybody's talking about the Bears. Everybody's talking about the Death Cross Boogie. But then there is the bull trap fake out theory. It's just a theory. But once you see it play out, you can see. What about the bullish fake out theory? Fake out. Whoa. The bullish fake out theory? Fake out? There's a black hole in my intellectual universe when you say that, Remedial Joe. Morning, everybody. It's another beautiful day here on planet Earth, a day none of us are guaranteed. We're not guaranteed these days, yet we're lucky enough to have them anyway. Good morning, Wake Up Weverly, Troy, and Mark Stone, Terry Rooster, Das Beach, Remedial Joe, pianomattyb, OG, Diamond OG, Sarah S., Get Off My Lawn, Misco, pianomattyb, OG, Erscum, Sneaky Pete Vapes in BC, Squeaky McGee, Mike Long, Mad Faded Baby, Enzo Mining, Derek Porter, JP, David Sony Music, pianomattyb, OG, helping to build the channel, Benji J, Kier, Brathwaite, Casey Powell, Bruce Mai, Josie Wales, Storm Chase in Video, Captain Matty B, pianomattyb, OG, Captain Swanky Pants, pianomattyb, OG, No Winter Coat, Storm Chasing Video. Yeah, oh man, it's getting pretty cold. I have a little blanket on my my pants, I have shorts on, which is my first mistake. I should have had my black velour pants, which I wear every day and every night. But when it comes to about 7:58 to 7:59, I start panicking because sometimes I've started the video and I realize I didn't screw this mic on. So I have to unscrew it, put it up in the closet, so people don't come by and go, hey, there's an SM7B, just like, that guy Joe Rogan talks into. Let's go steal it. Great show last night, says Lee333. Thank you, Lee. That was an impromptu live stream. I mean, we always live stream on Friday and Saturday nights, and this was a private gig that kind of rented out the Jimmy and then hired us to do it. And we always make one fatal error when it comes to private gigs. We start thinking, well, they hired us because they can't wait to see us. Nothing could be farther from the truth when it comes to these kind of corporate event type things, because they're just checking the box. Oh, we need some entertainment too, so might as well get the dueling pianos. So it was a packed night, but no one really cared.
about the dueling pianos, which as a piano player coming up through the kind of ranks of playing professionally in public, you get used to people not really listening to you all the time. There's Kyle Mack. he figured he'd tune in today. Because piano is optional. And a lot of times, especially if it's just instrumental, no one's there to see the piano player. But in a dueling piano scenario, like on Friday and Saturday, Kyle and I are basically entertaining the crowd. So we get used to flexing that muscle. And when we start a night like last night, we quickly realize, oh yeah, nobody cares. So with about 5 minutes to spare, Kyle was like, should we go live? And it's just my habit to not go live on private gigs because I'm basically never prepared except for the Jimmy. So we're like, yeah, let's do it. Because these live private events are kind of mediocre at best when it comes to people even caring. So we went live. Then I was kind of worried that, well, I can't give the live audience, like the boutique community online, maybe the attention it needs and deserves because of the live show. But then I realized I don't really care about the live audience. I do, but I mean, we have more fun with you guys online than we ever do with the live audience. So we'll be doing that from now on, obviously. And sure enough, within an hour, it was just Kyle and I, and the boutique community. Then I start thinking, what would we have done without YouTube last night? It would just have been like, we would have just started rehearsing because we have a gig at the Hargrave Market. It's this outdoor kind of thing where we just, practice tunes that are a little rusty, etc., etc. Does it not feel like a reddish Friday, like a very bearish Friday? I feel like there's a lot of things coming into play. Between some legacy stocks like Apple and Nvidia having a slight down, like 3% in the legacy stock is quite a bit. 3% in Bitcoin now is something like we go, oh, it went down, consider 3 to 5% a move because it's just so kind of boring right now. When you see Apple or Nvidia go down, David Sony Music, good morning, poor people crypto. Strikes me as a typo. When you see the legacy stocks go down 3%, that's pretty decent. And that's because, in my opinion, I believe China has got America's balls. And when I mean balls, I mean iPhone. They're putting the pressure on the iPhone production. I mean, what would we do collectively? And when I say America, I mean Canada. Because believe me, Canada's worse than America. So if I'm ever, talking poorly of America, it's only because Canada I'm talking poorly of us. And I'm not talking poorly of us, the community. I'm talking poorly of, these Western countries that are just, I don't know. I feel like it's falling apart very fast. And I'm not sure if there's anything we can do about it, because these things, this momentum that happens in countries, sentiment, culture, and society are like the biggest cruise ship in the world. And I worked on a cruise ship, so I know how big they can be and how long it takes to turn around. So you just can't turn the boat around, MS, United States of America, turn the ship around. We're going to change course. What happens at that point is that they go, Roger that. And then it goes down the line and all these little motors have to start turning. And in like an hour, maybe a cruise ship can fully turn around. And I'm not even sure if that could happen. Apple moved its production to India. Isn't that interesting, baseball and crypto? Mad Faded Baby. We can't even pay the interest on our loans to China. Yes. I heard it's $2 billion a day. $2 billion a day. This is where it gets very rich to me. That the Gen Pop, you and I sit here and kind of fret over certain amounts of debt. Oh, I can't be delinquent on my credit card payment, what have you, because, that just would be horrible. Meanwhile, the government itself is paying $2 billion in interest a day. That's crazy. They moved out last year. I'm not sure they totally moved out, baseball and crypto. But I also not 100% sure that they didn't. So I'll look into that. They moved out last year. That would be a big game changer. I would think that I kind of would have heard about that, but I don't keep my ear to the ground when it comes to legacy stocks or small cap altcoins. I just kind of let it. To me, they're like hit songs. If they're big enough, I'll hear it. If they're not big enough, I won't hear it. And 9 times out of 10, Sneaky Pete vaporizers, they have not moved out of China completely. Yeah. Well, I guess it's our weekend investigation. We'll see if we can come back on Monday and see if there's actually, if they did move out of India. I'm going to say that they haven't totally moved out of China. Not 100%. Only because I feel like I would have heard, it would have been bigger news. They wouldn't just kind of snuck it through. It would have been kind of all over. But then again, I don't know. These legacy stocks. I guess I can put down the list. It's getting a little chilly here. Yes, that's why Bitcoin is the greatest hedge. It sure is. I put that last meme. Remember, I'm talking about the last meme, and then I'm going to talk about this comment. The company has tripled its manufacturing in India since 2021. In 2023, Apple moved 7% of its iPhone production to India. The company plans to move 18% of its production to India by 2025. We got a Googler, Bruce Mai. Thanks, Bruce. So that kind of makes sense because I think 7%, even though it's a pretty big deal, it's probably why it didn't get major headlines and didn't kind of rock the world. The Apple headquarters in China is terrible. They had windows barricaded and netting on staircases because workers were committing suicide. Yeah, I heard that too. I'm not sure if that was like, to me, being an innocent bird brain here in Canada, I'm like, there's no way that they had to put up nets because people were jumping out committing suicide. Because this is how that plays out. And we'll call, geez, I don't want to get flagged for we're using that word. Because, YouTube's getting pretty dicey out these days. But the first accident kind of goes, it's a tragedy. They probably have a moment of silence and they're like, this is crazy. I can't believe someone did that at our company. And well, maybe we should do some due diligence and find out why that happened. And then some time passes and a second accident happens. And they're like, wow, I can't, that's twice. That's twice that this has happened. Same window, same floor, maybe. This is, once is an accident, twice is maybe a coincidence. Let's dig a little deeper. Third, 4, let's get down to a dozen, a baker's dozen. There's 13 people that have done it. At what point do the execs get together and go, okay, we got to solve this problem? And before we make working conditions better, we're obviously not going to do that. I got it. We'll just put a net outside the window. So when these people have accidents, well, they just kind of bounce right back up, maybe even into their seats if we can angle the thing. I know I'm making light of that, but you know how that's how it would have to happen. Like there would have to be decisions made and people throwing around ideas and finally settling on nets. But then again, we're talking about a country where people rent luggage cages at $200 a month as an apartment. I always tell Duke, it's like you have no idea how good we have it here in Canada. Yeah, your dad complains a lot. But at the end of the day, we live in a house that could seriously be subdivided into 30 apartments like they have in China and Hong Kong, where these people live in these subdivided. They'll take a living room and split it into 3. They all like, and that's nothing. Some of them are 12. It's horrible. I couldn't imagine that. So Duke, we have it pretty good. Speaking of Duke, it's his first day of school. Grade 3. Can you believe it? Grade 3. I feel like just yesterday that little Dickens was born. And now he is going into grade 3, right behind us. Private school. It's a Mennonite school. If you don't know what Mennonites are, I guess they're kind of like a German Christian type of religious school. We're not Christian. We're not really religious whatsoever. I feel like we are German because my grandma was a spy in World War II. And she claimed she was Polish. But my younger sister has done some research and tracked her all the way from Venezuela because she came over from Germany. I'm like, wasn't that the escape route that the Germans took down to South America? Anyway, so we're thinking she might have been German. And she never told us. And we also realized she never had a legit birth certificate. So there's that. We're getting a little into the weeds here on whether my grandma was a German spy. I think she was. She claimed she was a medium in the war. That's how she made her money. She would, have seances and stuff like that. But when I asked her when I was a little older, I go, so what is a medium? I don't understand. What are you doing? And I'm going to impersonate her accent in a horrible way. It's kind of like a German Polish. She'd say, oh, Machu. There's no such thing as mediums. I am what you call a good cold read. I see people and I know what they want. I know what to say. I know what they're like. And, I cold read them. Then I say things and I ask them questions and they answer back and they give me answers to questions that I needed to know down the line. Etc., etc. So she's very interesting. I think she died in her 90s. She made it to quite a bit. So Friday, Bloody Friday. What is it at? 25.8. Right. So I said, keep your peepers on that 25.9 retest, and Lord love a duck if she didn't do just that. Here we are, 25.9-ish, 871. And I remember a couple weeks ago when I brought up the 8800, I couldn't remember how I got there because, I don't I don't care about the price. I care not for bulls or bears. They're just patterns, and I take the pattern to its likely probability and and I couldn't remember how I got there. I remember if you've been on enough of these live streams, I was having trouble. How did I get to 8,800? And it was the death cross. And that was 2 weeks ago. And so when I started watching some of the other kind of Bitcoin channels, everyone was, yesterday was just death cross, death cross, death cross, death cross. I'm like, how come I didn't see this death cross? I'm usually pretty snappy when it comes to patterns. Like, oh yeah, 2 weeks ago we were talking about the death cross, and that's how we get to 8,800, because that's a 67% drop, which is a fractal of the last death cross we saw. So, and that's how we get to 8,800. Not saying we can, not saying we will, just saying it has, which means it can. And we've talked about this before. If it gets to 8,800, holy smokes. A lot of bad things are happening, mind you, if it's at 8,800. But for all of you, I'm sure, it will be the generation buying opportunity that will never come along again. That's why I just don't think it'll happen. It'll be too good to be true. As bloody as that day would seem, and believe me, the last thing I kind of want to do is say, when it comes to 24K, when it comes to 19.2, I think there's a 17.1 in there. And then, of course, there's a couple 12s and 13s, and then the 8,800. I do not want to be saying, we talked about this, so it should have come as no surprise. Because I just think there'd be a lot of carnage in the whole macro environment that would take us there. A lot of bad things would have to happen at the same time. And so a lot of people would be in pain, and I don't really... 8,800 would be great, but if it is causing all this turmoil amongst the community and, you know, the gen pop in general, well, it's not worth it to me, because I'm happy where it is now. Tonight is the live piano bar. We haven't hit 50 viewers yet. That's my goal for 2024. 50 viewers. Last week we peaked at 42, which makes it the largest dueling piano live stream in the world on YouTube. Hi, buddy. Okay, yeah, it is a little chilly here. So it's amazing, eh? The one thing he does with his feet is he kicks the Roadcaster, which had the potential to shut everything down. So anyway, if you have a couple seconds to come and pump those numbers, get those rookie numbers of 40 up to 50, that would make Kyle and I extremely happy. And everyone that tunes in. We always like to see the numbers go up. Okay, well, you got there super cozy. So are you
bullish?
You're bullish. Oh, how come?
Because I'm going to school today. I hate school.
You hate school? Why do you hate school?
Because it's the worst.
We can't hear you with that on. You gotta be.
It's the worst.
It's the worst?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you a little something about school. It's a good place for you to practice social dynamics. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's just knowing, where you stand amongst your peers, making friends, learning how your sense of humor plays out, knowing how to be funny, when to and when not to be funny. So, Duke, it's your first day of grade 3. Let's sing these good folks out, please, my boy.
We're playing the same game as our psychopaths collected elites. That's right, it's a long game, so zoom out and have a fantastic day. I wonder banks, the boom, the spank, Bitcoin, crypto, and TA.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great weekend. If I don't see you tonight or tomorrow, we'll see you Monday. Take care.
Make sure you like and subscribe and
share the